The T-Wolves take on the Sixers, 6 o'clock Eastern start time. Philadelphia's -5, totals 216. We're hitting at 65% in our last 17 college basketball tier package picks on BrockPage.com. And if you want to see which one of these free YouTube picks on my channel that I'm actually betting on personally, there's only one way to do that, and that's to sign up for a membership on my website at BrockPage.com. We currently have over 1,015 members who are signed up and active on that site. And if you find yourself really enjoying this video here today, please feel free to give it a thumbs up by smashing that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please feel free to hit that subscribe button and join the Brock Page family. I'd love to connect with you on a daily basis. Now, it does look like Joel Embiid should get some playing time here tonight. He's been out for about 3 years with COVID. The Sixers are in the top 10 in the NBA in offensive field goal percentage. They're also leading the NBA in free throw percentage at home. Embiid's averaging over 21 points a game for the season, 9 rebounds, 4 assists for JoJo. Meanwhile, Tobias Harris is dropping over 20.5 points a night himself, 8 rebounds, 4 assists for Toby. Now keep an eye on Harris as he's been battling a hip injury as well. But if both of these men play, Philly should have a pretty good shot at covering this number. They're currently in the top 10 in home offensive three-point percentage. They're taking on a Minnesota squad who's got a losing record on the road, and they're allowing 114 points a game when traveling. Minnesota's also in the bottom 3 in defensive rebounding. Now, injury-wise, Beverly is still out for Minnesota. Meanwhile, for Philadelphia, once again, Embiid and Harris, they are both questionable. Now, total-wise, 5 out of Philly's last 9 got over the posted number, throwing out that Golden State game. Meanwhile, the Timberwolves saw 3 out of their last 4 get over the number themselves. I'm going to lean toward Philadelphia -5 over 216. Next ball game, Suns, Nets, 7:30 Eastern start time. Brooklyn's -1.5, totals 224. And speaking of the total in this one, Brooklyn's 6-3 to the under in their 9 contests at the Barclays Center this year. The Nets are officially 10-9 to the under for the entire season. Meanwhile, the Suns on the other side, they went 5-4 to the under in their road games this year themselves. Phoenix is officially 10-9 to the under for the entire season. As far as picking a winner goes in this one, this game's being featured as my board member tier package pick on BrockPage.com. So if you want to see whether I'm leaning toward the Suns on the road in this one, or if I'm leaning toward Brooklyn getting the job done in front of their home fans, there's only one way to find out, and that's to sign up for my board member tier package pick on BrockPage.com. But as far as making a free pick goes for this contest, I'm going to lean toward the under 224 in that game. Next matchup, Knicks, Hawks, 7:30 Eastern start time. Atlanta's -5.5, totals 216. The Red Hot Hawks have won their last 7 straight. 6-1 against the number in those 7 victories. Atlanta's also one of the best home teams in the association. They're 8-1 straight up at the State Farm Arena. 7-2 against the number in those 9 home games. Trae Young's averaging 25 points a game, 3 rebounds, 9 assists for the guard. Trae's also drilling nearly 40% of his 3 balls. Meanwhile, John Collins is draining nearly 40% of his 3-pointers himself. Collins is good for 16 points a night, along with 7 rebounds, couple assists. Atlanta leads the NBA in offensive field goal percentage at home. They're also in the top 3 in shooting the 3-ball at home as well. They're taking on a Knicks team who failed to cover the point spread in 7 out of their last 10. New York's in the bottom 10 in offensive field goal percentage. They're also dead last in the NBA in fourth quarter points allowed, really breaking down late in games. Now, injury-wise, Rose and Gibson are questionable for New York. Meanwhile, for Atlanta, Hunter and Okongwu are both still out. When it comes to the number, Atlanta's 5-4 to the under at the State Farm Arena. 60% to the under in their last 10 meetings with the Knicks. And speaking of New York, they're 8-1 to the under in their last 9 themselves, 75% to the under when traveling. I'm going to lean toward Atlanta minus 5.5, under 216. Next game, Heat, Bulls, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Miami's minus 1.5, totals 212. But despite being favored in this one on the road, the Heat failed to cover the point spread in their last 3 straight. And they're playing just .500 basketball on the road. The Heat failed to cover the point spread in 6 out of their last 12 road games. And they're also in the bottom 10 in second quarter scoring. They're taking on a Chicago team who's 6-3 straight up at the United Center. And they're covering the number in 67% of those home games. The Bulls are shooting over 84% from the foul line. That's best in the NBA right now. They're also in the top 5 in shooting the 3-ball. Zach LaVine scoring over 25.5 points a game, 5 rebounds, 3 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, DeMar DeRozan is scoring 25 points a night himself, 5 rebounds, 4 assists for the forward. Now defensively, the Bulls are holding their opponents to just 102 points a game on their home court. When it comes to the scoring in this one, 6 out of Chicago's last 10 meetings with Miami did get over the line. Meanwhile, the Heat went 70% to the over in their last 10 themselves. I'm going to lean toward Chicago plus 1.5, over 212. Where are you going?
Nowhere.
Nowhere?
No, I just used my key to open my soda.
Oh, I thought I heard your car horn.
Oh, no.
Okay. Because I heard your keys, and then I heard a beep, and I thought you were starting your car up.
No, I did not.
Okay. All right, next contest. It is going to be Hornets versus the Rockets, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Charlotte's minus 6, totals 225.5. Charlotte's on a 3-game winning streak, 8-1 straight up in their last 9. The Hornets have also been very good against the number here recently as well. They're 7-2 against the spread in their last 9 ball games. Charlotte's in the top 3 in the NBA in both scoring and 3-point percentage. Miles Bridges is averaging over 20 points a night, 7 rebounds, 3 assists for the forward. Meanwhile, LaMelo Ball is dropping nearly 20 points a game himself, 7 boards, 7 assists for Melo. Now they're taking on a 2-16 Houston squad who's scoring just 101 points a game. The Rockets are also in the bottom 3 in shooting the 3-ball, and they're making only 69% of their free throws. Now, injury-wise, Wall and Green are both still out for Houston. Meanwhile, for Charlotte, Plumlee has been listed as questionable. When it comes to the scoring in this one, Charlotte went 7-2 to the under in their last 9 ball games. Houston saw 5 out of their last 7 stay under the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward Charlotte minus 6, under 225.5. Next game, Magic, Cavaliers, 8 o'clock Eastern start time. Cleveland's minus 9.5, totals 205. The Cavs are on a 5-game losing streak. Mobley and Stevens are questionable for tonight's contest. The Mavs have a losing record at home, and they're scoring just 101 points a night at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. Meanwhile, defensively on the other end of the court, the Cavs are in the bottom 10 in home defensive field goal percentage. They're taking on an Orlando squad who successfully covered the point spread in 4 out of their last 6. Cole Anthony scoring almost 20 points a game, 6 rebounds, 5 assists for the guard. Meanwhile, Wendell Carter Jr. is dropping 40% of his 3 balls, 13 points a game and 9 boards for the center. The Magic have a winning record against the spread on the road. They also lead the entire NBA in fourth quarter scoring. Now, injury-wise, Moore and Carter Williams and Anthony, they're both listed as questionable. Meanwhile, when it comes to the total, Orlando's 7-4 to the over on the road this year. Meanwhile, 3 out of Cleveland's last 4 got over the line themselves. I'm going to lean toward Orlando plus 9.5, over 205. Next ball game, Wizards, Mavs, 8:30 Eastern tip-off. Dallas is minus 7, numbers 211. The Mavs covered the point spread in 6 out of their last 8 ball games. They're also 6-1 straight up at home this year. They're in the top 10 in home offensive field goal percentage. Luka Doncic is scoring 25 points a game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists for Luka. Meanwhile, Kristaps Porzingis is scoring over 21 points a game himself, along with 8 boards. Dallas is currently in the top 10 in defending the 3-ball at home. They're taking on a Washington team who's covering the number in just 30% of their road games. Washington dropped 4 out of their last 6, and they're making only 29% of their three-pointers when traveling. Now, equally as bad, the Wizards are averaging only 100 points a game away from home. Injury-wise, Hachimura is still out. Bryant is questionable. Meanwhile, for Dallas, Ntilikina is out. Brunson and Bullock are questionable for them. And when it comes to the total on this one, 5 out of Dallas's last 7 home games fell under the number. 11-6 to the under for the entire season. Meanwhile, the Wizards are 70% to the under on the road this year. 13-6 to the under at any location. I'm going to lean toward Dallas -7, under 211. Next and final matchup, Pelicans Jazz, 9 o'clock East. Utah's -12.5, totals 215. The Jazz are one of the best rebounding teams in the NBA. Top 5 in offensive rebounding, top 3 in defensive rebounding as well. The Jazz are also holding their opponents to just 103 points a game. Now, scoring-wise, Donovan Mitchell is scoring almost 23 points per contest, 4 rebounds, 4 assists for Don. Meanwhile, Bojan Bogdanovic is sinking 41% of his three-pointers, 17 points a night for Bogey. Utah's in the top 5 in scoring on average per game. They're taking on a 5-16 Pelicans team, who's winning just 18% of their road games. As a matter of fact, the Pels are averaging just 97 points a night on the road. And they're in the bottom 5 in offensive field goal percentage. Meanwhile, defensively, the Pels are in the bottom 5 in defending the 3-ball. When it comes to the injury report, Holmes and Williamson are still out. When it comes to the total in this one, New Orleans is 9-2 to the under on the road, 15-6 to the under for the entire season. I'm going to lean toward Utah -12.5, under 215. With that, guys, now it's time for our quick pick recap, powered to you by my website at brockpage.com, where we are 65% in our last 17 college basketball tier package picks. I like the Sixers -5 over 216. I'm also leaning toward the under 224 in the Phoenix-Brooklyn game. Give me Atlanta -5.5 under 216. Chicago +1.5 over 212. Charlotte -6 under 225.5. Orlando +9.5 over 205. Dallas -7 under 211. And before I give you my next and final free pick for the video, one final reminder that we are hitting at 65% our last 17 college basketball tier package picks. I like Utah -12.5 under 215. With that, guys, now it's time for our shout out of the day. And that's going to go to Luis Mario Dominguez Leon, who said yesterday, thanks. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Don't forget to check me out on brockpage.com. If you guys do end up getting a membership here today on that website, just keep in mind, you're going to get billed the day you sign up and then the first of every month following that. So if you do end up getting a membership here today on brockpage.com, just keep in mind that you're going to get access to that content through the end of November. I do always tell folks in every single video, the earlier in the month you sign up, the better. But most importantly, guys, got to thank you for joining me right here on YouTube. I really hope you enjoyed all this great free content, all this great free information. And with that said, guys, happy Saturday to you. Best of luck to you. And I look forward to seeing you later on today on my website at brockpage.com.